Time for Prop Queen Edges of the Night. Let me just tweet it out. Okay, we're rock and rolling, ready to go. I'll go to, I know we've been talking about it, fine, whatever. I'll stick to the NFL. Back to Tampa Bay and Houston. I mentioned in that SGP that I do like CJ Stroud over his passing yards tonight. So Stroud averaged just over 255 passing yards per game at home last year. The splits were drastic. Stroud played much better in Houston. Against teams bottom 10 against the pass, Stroud went over 229.5 passing yards in 6 of the 8 games dating back to the start of last season, averaging 258 passing yards a game against these bad secondaries. So at home last year, Stroud went over, I said 229.5 because that's the prop, but you could get over 225, like 225 plus for like minus 130, so I was willing to lay it. At home last year, Stroud went over 229 in 78% of games. And the Bucs allowed the third most passing yards per game last year at 261, fourth most in week 1. Michael Penix Jr., 298 passing yards in week 1 against this Buccaneers defense. So we are going CJ Stroud at home, 225 plus passing yards. What else did I like in this game? Baker Mayfield over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I also put that in the SGP with Jared Block. Baker went over in all 3 primetime road games last year. He averaged just over 2 passing touchdowns on the road. Houston allowed the third most passing touchdowns per game last year. 65% of the last 20 quarterbacks to face Houston went over their passing touchdown prop. I don't understand why this number is in the plus 100 range. Like it was like plus 108 this morning. It's like plus 125 now. Whatever. I like it. I'm going to try and take advantage of a good number at plus 125. Great value for Baker Mayfield to go over 1.5 passing touchdowns. If he doesn't do that, I don't know why this is a 2.5 point spread. Also, if you don't like Baker Mayfield tonight and you think some of these lines are a bit fishy, you could look to his under 232.5 passing yards. He went under this in 2 of the 3 primetime road games last year. Houston allowed the 7th least passing yards per game last season at 220.5. Against Houston in the last 20 games, 35% of quarterbacks went over their passing yards prop. So it's pretty damn good for the Houston defense. So I would say if Baker does anything in the passing game, it's in the end zone and he throws for more touchdowns. But overall in the game, they're going to have to figure something else out because they know Baker's going to try to throw and he's going to try to scramble. And that's actually where Houston excels more, is against the pass. Late night football, we've got Chargers and Raiders. I really like Justin Herbert under his rush attempts, but as I mentioned, it's now more juiced. It's like minus 152, which is not my thing. But the explanation for it, he had 7 rush attempts last week against Kansas City. And I just don't see a world where the Chargers want this to be the case. Justin Herbert having to run and risk himself out of the pocket. Herbert went under this in both primetime road games last year. On the road in general, Herbert averaged just over 3 rush attempts per game, went under 4.5 in 8 of 10 on the road. Vegas allowed the 10th least rush attempts per game to quarterbacks last year. And in the last 10 games against Vegas, only 35% of quarterbacks went over their rush attempt prop. Tyler Conklin, this one was a little weird, and I'm not blaming props.cash, but I kind of am. I said over 2.5 because props.cash had it at plus 158, and I still kind of liked it, but you could get it over 1.5 or minus 102. I don't know. It doesn't really, it's a little weird. Whatever. But anyway, Tyler Conklin over 1.5 receptions is minus 102 on FanDuel. Conklin had only 2 receptions last week against Kansas City, but he averaged just over 3 receptions a game on the road last year, going over in 63% of games. So maybe it's just that Justin Herbert likes his tight end more on the road. Vegas allowed the 5th most receptions per game to tight ends last year, averaging 6 receptions a game to the position. And in week 1 against the Raiders, the Patriots allowed Hunter Henry to have 4 catches for 66 yards. So I don't understand why Tyler Conklin is 1.5 minus 102, but I think it's a great number as well. So here's the thing with the Prop Queen Pod. The Prop Queen Pod is here to show you some edges in the market. That's the point of Prop Queen edges, to find you edges. And it's not saying that every time we win, but I just sometimes find this, like, these great numbers. They talk about it all the time. We talk about it with Yanni the Greek. It's just betting good numbers. That's why he says you always tease the 2.5s. I mean, I'm not going to today, but like, you tease good numbers. You bet good numbers. K. Dotton actually does very well on prime time. So I'll show you on props.cash. I'll pull up my props.cash stuff. I was looking at last year's primetime numbers for Kate Otten, and I was pretty shocked because he always screws me over, so I end up never really betting him. But receiving yards, Kate Otten. Share screen. Okay. Kate Otten. So 2024 prime time. He went over his 20.5 receiving yards in all 4 primetime games. Only 1 touchdown, though, in primetime. But receiving yards went over in all 4 games. 2 of the 4 over his receptions. He went over Kate Otten 14.5 yards for his longest reception in all 4 primetime games as well. On the road last year, went over in 3 of 7. But again, primetime Cotton. Primetime Cotton Otten. So you could take a look at that. Looking over on Kate Otten's receiving yards or longest reception because of those primetime trends. But you know me, I'm not a big anytime touchdown person. Kim Crawford, like the wine. I love the wine. H-Town win coming. Okay. I know that you guys all are in on NFL, but we do have a little bit of Major League Baseball. So in case you are interested in any MLB tonight, there are 3 pitcher props that stood out to me, starting with the under 17.5 outs for the Nationals lefty, Mitchell Parker. They're getting the Braves. Parker's averaging about 15 outs a game. When facing Atlanta, starters are going about 16 outs. The only reason I'm afraid is because Parker went under in 17.5 outs in both his other games against Atlanta. So, you know me, I always feel like something has to happen that didn't happen before. Minnesota's righty, Simeon Woods Richardson, over 4.5 Ks at -118. He's getting the Yankees tonight. He went over this in 4 of 5 starts against teams with high strikeout rates against righties. The Yankees are averaging just over 5 strikeouts a game against righties, going over in 7 of the last 10. And the Yankees are coming off Sunday Night Baseball, facing the Red Sox. Crazy series. It wouldn't surprise me if the Yankees strike out a bunch tonight on the road in Minnesota. Then K-Wei Tang over 2.5 earned runs. Giants at Diamondbacks tonight. That's the Giants righty, +100. K-Wei Tang owns a 7.54 ERA this year. The Cardinals are actually averaging 3 runs a game against starters. Of the last 10 pitchers to start against Arizona, 6 went over 2.5 earned runs. So K-Wei Tang over 2.5 earned runs. What would I give to see the Yankees win it all this year? I don't know. I'm honestly, I'm not, crazy. I'll get crazy when the time comes. But, I'm not the kind of person, I don't know. Here's the other thing. There is a lot that needs to change with the New York Yankees. The longer the Yankees continue to, quote unquote, I guess, win, the harder it's going to be to make the changes necessary. I know that sounds weird because if you're winning, that's good and you don't need to make changes. I don't like how the Yankees have been looking. I don't like the bullpen. I don't trust the bullpen outside of Bednar. I don't like that their team is fundamentally a disaster for the last few years. So in my eyes, I feel like they should be doing better, but whatever. I don't know. I think the Ravens, if I had to choose, I think I'm more devastated when the Ravens lose, solely because I think the Ravens are more talented than the Yankees. I don't love one team more than the other, but I just feel like the Ravens are the most disappointing because the Ravens actually have the tools and the players and the personnel needed to win a Super Bowl. The Yankees, they don't. They keep getting lucky because the American League sucks. There's nobody in the American League that I'm scared of. I'm trying to think. I know you guys in the chat, like Mark will say Toronto, but or Detroit. But I'm just saying, any of these teams could go down. No one's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to play them in the playoffs. I don't mind playing anybody in the playoffs. The same way Major Matt said it about the Phillies. There's nobody scary. Like last year, the Yankees losing to the Dodgers, I'm like, of course they did. Duh. There wasn't a team last year, though, in the American League outside the Astros that I was really kind of afraid to play, solely because the Astros are like the Yankees' daddy. But I could see the Yankees beating Toronto. I could see them beating the Red Sox. I could see them beating the Tigers. I could see them beating anybody. But last year, when they had to face the Dodgers in the World Series, I knew it would take a miracle. I knew. Anyway, let me get rid of this from the chat. It is 6 o'clock. You know what it means. It is time for the Royal Locks of the Day. Royal Locks of the Day. Where are they? CJ Stroud, over 229. Well, I didn't update the graphic. 225 plus passing yards for CJ Stroud tonight. He's averaging 255 passing yards a game at home, dating back to last year. Against bottom 10 pasties last season, Stroud went over this in 6 of 8 games, dating back to the start of last year again. 258 passing yards a game is what he averaged. The Bucs allowed the third most passing yards per game last season, fourth most in week 1. Michael Penix had 298 passing yards. Then Simeon Richardson, I know that he's been on and off injury, and he's having a rough year. I normally would never trust him, but the numbers are telling me that the Yankees average 5 strikeouts a game against righty starters. And what has Minnesota got to lose by keeping Simeon Richardson in this game and giving him a little length like the Orioles might with Kyle Bradish? Let SWR go against this Yankees team in a horrible spot. The Yankees, again, coming off Sunday Night Baseball. I'm going to see if that's a fishy line, by the way. I snapshotted the lines last night. So the Yankees, and this might move against me, and then I might be mad about betting this, but whatever. We're about to find out live. So last night, the Yankees were minus 194 and minus 205. Ugh, whatever. Anyway, the Twins are definitely huge dogs to the Yanks, but I just like the spot, and Rodon's pitching on the road, so whatever. Numbers tell me, I bet numbers. And the numbers tell me that the Yankees average 5 strikeouts a game. Simeon Richardson is getting a team coming off Sunday Night Baseball off a rivalry series with the Red Sox. They won 2 out of 3. It meant a lot. And now they're going to go to Minnesota, and they're going to be tired. So they're going to strike out over 4.5 Ks. But I do really like CJ Stroud. Definitely the best bet of the night.